Hi and what's up, all my beanie weenies, and welcome back to my channel. I am, of course, Hot Dogs, and we are here redoing my videos when I recreated American Horror Story on The Sims 4. And today we are going to be doing Season 2, Asylum. I have went ahead and I placed the asylum that I built in Forgotten Hollow. I thought the gloominess kind of fit with that vibe of the season and the asylum itself. That season's super dark. Good luck watching it like on a laptop in the daylight because you're not going to be able to see anything. And of course, as soon as I'm like getting some nice shots of the exterior of the building, and I'm really trying to get like those ooky spooky vibes rolling, and of course I have to be interrupted by that stupid little orange alert in the corner of my screen that says there's a fire, because it wouldn't be one of my videos if there wasn't a fire. There's multiple fires in every single video. This one is happening on the 3rd floor with Dr. Thredson. I actually don't even think I started this one myself. Like, I don't think I told him to like that. I think he just kind of did it. And yeah, so after he gets that put out, I'm able to actually just like jump right in and start it. I'm like, whatever, you know, F these exterior shots. Let's just get into it before this whole place burns down and someone dies. Alright, so let's get it really started in the grand entryway of the asylum. I think I talked about my other videos, maybe my last one, I'm not too sure what I've talked and not talked about in these anymore. But almost every season has like a really beautiful grand staircase and like the official like main set of that season. And I think the asylums is my favorite. I love how giant it is, how it goes up multiple floors, the spiral of it. I just thought was really cool, and it was kind of hard to redo. I think I actually did this before the stairs update. I built some of these a really long time ago, so I think this was before the windows and before the stairs and everything like that, so it was kind of difficult to do. As we see at the base of the stairs, we have two of the inmates talking, and those two happen to actually be Kit and Grace. Alright, so jumping into Create a Sim, I gotta warn you, almost everyone's Create a Sim, and this one is very repetitive and very boring. For all the inmates, just kind of stuck them in a white jumpsuit, and their underwear was like a white track shorts, and the girls had a shirt and the guys don't. And that was pretty much it with white shoes. That was the extent of it. So with this one, also as you see, it doesn't really look like Evan Peters. I'm not that good at making them look like people anyway, but I didn't want these characters all to just be the same sim in just different outfits, even if that is the case in real life. So I kind of went more with the vibe of Kit. So he has like the swirly kind of hairdo of that time, and he looks like a bad boy, and he actually is up to no good, as him and Grace have decided to woohoo, and they are doing it none other than Sister Jude's bed. So Sister Jude and Mary Eunice, they both have offices on the 1st floor that can have connecting bedrooms and bathrooms, and they decided to break into Sister Jude's and get it on in her bed. So Kit kind of wraps it up pretty quickly, and Grace ends up falling asleep, and he's like, I'ma just dip, I'm not about to sleep here. And he actually made the right decision, because as soon as he's leaving, Sister Jude is entering, and they cross paths, and he gets away from this one, but sadly Grace does not, as Sister Jude is not happy to find her in her bed. She wakes her up immediately and gives her a good beating to teach her a lesson. Alright, so here you can see Sister Jude, played by Jessica Lange on the show, and I love this character. I was actually trying to think of which Jessica character is my favorite of the 4 that she does, and I thought Sister Jude for a little bit, but I'm honestly not too sure. I can't really decide. But this doesn't really look like her, as most of my Sims do not. believe it or not, this is not the worst one I make of Jessica Lange. You'll have to wait for that. This one surprisingly isn't. But when it comes to the outfits and everything, for her, Mary Eunice, and Monsignor, I kind of stuck with the graduation outfits from Discovery University. For theirs, I just stuck with the all black, and all of her outfits are pretty much that, except for her pajamas, which she has a nice silky red lingerie. All right, so after Sister Jude is done beating up Grace and watching her fall, she decides now's a good time to continue what I was doing and go to sleep. So she gets in her new warm bed, freshly warmed bed, and falls right to sleep as Grace wakes up and heads out the door. When it comes to Grace, I really think she's cute in the Sims version I made of her. However, I don't like Grace as a character at all. I thought she was like schemy, weird, a psycho. I didn't trust her. Also, at the time when it came to Kit's like other girlfriend, she had recently been in Skins US, and I was like, I was already in love with Skins. So as Skins US came out, and I was like, I'm gonna be on this show. My dreams are coming true. It didn't end up working out, but I loved the girl who played his other girlfriend anyway. So when Grace came in the picture, I was just annoyed. But she looks cute in my Sims game. All right, so she is actually going to head downstairs to the basement, and I'm going to show you that after this, but I'm just going to go over the first floor with you. So like I said, Sister Jude and Mary Eunice, they both have offices on the first floor with a bedroom and a bathroom connected to it. That takes up a lot of room, as well as the stairwell. We also have the kitchen and dining room on one corner, and the opposite corner, we have Monsignor's chapel. When we look around on the first floor, when it comes to what everyone's doing, everyone's kind of going to sleep right now. So surprisingly, we have Mary Eunice in her room, and Monsignor was actually sleeping on her couch. They have a little weird relationship that I kind of shipped on the show. I don't know why, but I was like into it. But Monsignor ends up getting up and going and praying about it. He's like, why am I sleeping on this devilish woman's couch? So he goes to the chapel. The chapel's like pretty ugly. There isn't actually a chapel in the asylum, but I thought it was important for him to have one. And he's like trying to practice his sermons? I just need to like stop talking. Why do I have a YouTube channel? When it comes to Monsignor's creative sim, I made him pretty attractive. The actual guy that played him is like really hot, and I was like, he's too hot. Surprisingly, I usually make my sims too hot, but I was like, I'm gonna just make this guy look real friendly. And I kind of gave him like a pinched in face, and he looks kind of snooty, which I felt like was fitting. And I just mainly stuck him in graduation outfits. So like I said, Grace is gonna be heading down to the basement, and the basement only has 2 rooms down there pretty much. One being Dr. Arden's office, and the other one being one cell with one bed in it. And that one's kind of like the punishment cell. You get down there, you get shipped down there when you're being bad. And I mean, she was just like doing the woohoo in Sister Jude's bed, so she gracefully takes her bed down there. But like I said, the other room in the basement is Dr. Arden's office. I love Dr. Arden. I thought he was like a great villain until he kind of got like pussy whipped. I don't know like how else to say it. Like he just like the storyline with him like being in love with Mary Eunice was like out of nowhere for me. I enjoyed like him being a Nazi, and I like his ties in with Freak Show and stuff like that. I liked when Anne Frank came and was accusing him. I thought those kind of things were fun. The zombie mutilation stuff was fun, him being like a Nazi doctor. But then when the whole like love thing with him and Mary Eunice happened, he kind of lost me on that one. When it comes to his creative sim on here, I mainly just stuck him with the scientist outfits from the Get to Work pack, and I just kind of made him wear that for almost everything, and then some like sexy boxers. That was pretty much it. When it comes to his office, he has like one main room that has a really warm fireplace and bookshelves and stuff like that, and then connected to it is his operating theater. So obviously we don't have platforms yet in the game. I made this a long time ago. And we were in a basement, so there's like only so much I could do. But I tried to just like get the creepy kind of vibe. It honestly reminds me of like the Slytherin common room. But yeah, so he has like an operating table in his office that he can do his business with. But yeah, so here's like an overhead shot of everything. Not too much of the basement. The only thing remaining in the basement is the long, like, death chute where they take all the dead bodies out. And it's the only other exit, apart from the main exit, the front entryway. This is the only other door that goes to the outside. So this is kind of a way for your inmates to escape, some rebellion to take place, stuff like that. But of course, it isn't only a way for Sims to escape, but it's also a way for creatures and other things to come in, as it's conveniently placed right beside a creepy graveyard. But that kind of wraps up the first floor, so we're going to head up to the second floor. And after Dr. Arden finishes checking out that womanly statue, he ends up going upstairs and following us as well. And the second floor and the third floor are kind of similar, where they have main rooms that are connected to that entry well, stairwell, whatever the fuck it's called. And the side, like the east wing and the west wing, those are just full of dorms. So I think I have like 30 or more rooms. They're all pretty much single bed. I think some of them have doubles. And then at the end of each wing is a bathroom. So there's like 2 private toilets, 2 open showers, 2 sinks, and like 2 tubs in each bathroom. So that kind of equals math, 8 toilets, 8 tubs, 8 showers, stuff like that. So perfect for all the Sims if you're not going to use mods to extend it. And you have plenty of open beds for anyone to choose from. But like I said, in the center, we have a bunch of main rooms connected to the stairs. And those include a nursery for any kids that you want to have stay at the asylum, a gym for any aggressive mental Sims to kind of get it all out instead of punching the doctors and nurses. And then we also have an art room where if they're not physically inclined, maybe they're artistically inclined, and they can get it out by being creative. And of course, if none of those work, they can also go see their resident therapist, Dr. Thredson, and his office is there as well. Now, Dr. Thredson is, of course, Bloodyface. As a character, love him. I love the writing. I love everything about him. It's like a only really good Zachary Quinto character. I don't like him. Isn't that who plays him? It is, right? I'm not going to double check it, but I don't like Zachary Quinto, so if that is him that plays it, kudos. It probably is. I feel like I'm probably right because I usually am, but I might be wrong. When it comes to his create a sim, I used a lot of mods, so I kind of put him in like aprons and stuff, and then the bandages and the blood and stuff came with, I think, the extreme violence mod, and I just kind of put that on him. So if you download him, it's not going to have that. It's going to have everything else though, but he wouldn't be bloody face without blood on his face. And then we are going to have none other than Miss Lana Winters go visit Dr. Thredson. She needs to have a little talk with him. Alright, so I think the Lana Winters sim is pretty cute. I don't think I had that weird hairdo yet that came from like Tiny Living or stuff that was like really outdated and random. I don't think I had that yet, but I probably would have put that on her now. When it comes to the character, I really like her. She was my favorite, like, Sarah Paulson character, but I gotta say, like, every reincarnation of Lana Winters as the season goes on, every kind of surprise twist where she pops up to do an interview, I like her less and less and less. I hate old Lana Winters. She's the worst. Sadly, though, this Lana Winters isn't gonna last too long in my Sims game. Because as soon as she sits down in the office, Dr. Thredson reveals who he really is. Bloody face. So yeah, I decided to do the opposite of what happened on the show. Instead of having a season-long chase between the two, I just thought, let's put them in a room and see who wins. And of course, Bloodyface would win. Duh. So she's gone. She's dead. We have the Grim Reaper coming and arriving and taking her body. And yep, that's all you're going to get Alana Winters. I think she's appeared enough on American Horror Story, and that's all she's going to get out of me on this episode. That's for sure. All right, so now that Lana's out of here, let's go ahead and let's check out the last floor, which is the third floor. This one, like I said earlier, is laid out a lot like the second floor, where there's a west and an east wing full of dorms with bathrooms at the end. Except for, instead of having 4 main rooms at the stairwell, there is only 2. There's a nurse's office and there is the recreational room. And the recreational room is kind of that big room that you found everyone in most of the series, where the name game takes place and stuff like that. So all of that is mainly up there, and a lot of the Sims kind of hang out up there throughout most of the play I had in the asylum. You could, of course, always lock the doors and kind of like restrict their fun access, because there is a foosball table in there, there's music, of course, there's fireplaces, comfy couches, and stuff like that. So it is a good place for your crazy inmates to relax. So like we saw earlier, Kit witnessed Lana's murder and was upset about her death, but now with the access of this recreational room, he's able to play foosball foosball with Grace and forget all about his worries and just focus on a fun game with the girl he's in love with. And we also have Sister Jude forgetting about all of her responsibilities and just singing and dancing to music by the fireplace. It's the best room in the asylum. And here's a little sneak peek of the nurse's station. Nothing too exciting going on in there. Never really shown. I just thought it might be important to have in an asylum. Something to check on health, after all. And that kind of shows the whole asylum. You've pretty much seen everything now. And one thing I haven't shown you, however, is my Create-A-Sim for Mary Eunice. She's kind of been in bed all day, kind of been avoiding everyone, but she is out now. She's in her sexy red lingerie, an even sexier version of the one that Sister Jude has. And she is, of course, our possessed nun who's possessed by the devil. And now that Bloody Face has kind of christened the building with fresh blood, I feel like Mary Eunice is definitely ready to join in on the party. Just like Jessica Lange, I couldn't pick my favorite character of Lily Rabe. I would say my least favorite probably be Nora from Murder House, just because her accent is what is going on? It's kind of annoying. But every other time she appears, she steals the scene completely, and I'm obsessed with the both of them. Do I think the Sim looks like her? No. But she looks sweet and cute and innocent. That's what I was going for. And sexy when her hair is down in that lingerie. So, of course, she goes into the chapel and she's flirting with her boy, Monsignor. It's kind of going pretty well. And then things take a sudden turn. So instead of just sitting on the bench and having a civil conversation, Mary Eunice says, "You know what? Your face looks comfier, Monsignor. Let me just sit on that." And she slams down on his face, full speed, all of her body weight, and just crushes his skull into the ground. And he's out of here. Monsignor is gone. She knocked him out of this world with that big booty of hers. All right, and then at this point, I've come to the realization that I haven't shown off the kitchen or the dining room yet. And Dr. Arden's in there, and I'm like, well, what kind of other murder can take place? What other shenanigans could go down here? And I'm like, Grace, she got shot in the kitchen. Let me just recreate that really quick. So I call her in there. I'm like, let's get this started. And then they just both walk out. And they go into the chapel, and I'm like, oh, they're just going to witness, this death. Woohoo. I get to see another Sim cry at some random death. I haven't seen that before. And then they just immediately start arguing, and I was like, oh. That wasn't what I expected at all. Let's see where this goes, I guess. Meanwhile, Mary Judas. Mary Judas. Mary Eunice is just standing over there on the other side of the room, watching the Grim Reaper do his business, happily, just like covered in his blood. And the two of them sit down on a pew, Grace and Dr. Arden, and they're like still arguing, still discussing whatever they're discussing. And I never even, I was like, why aren't you just shooting her? And then instead of even doing that, she just poof disappears. She's just gone. And, there's only one real explanation to that, her disappearance. Like, no one got shot or anything. It doesn't really make much sense, so I think that must mean aliens. Aliens did it. Aliens did everything. Aliens are real. And we're never going to come up with a conclusion to that. Just know aliens. All right, and that wraps up my Sims 4 American Horror Story Asylum. Of course, you can download the building and all 8 of the Sims on the Sims Gallery at Singleton RW. I really like Asylum. I would actually say it's like tough between Murder House and Asylum, which one I like more. They're both like at the top of my list. I love how dark Asylum is. I do like most of the plot, and I find most of it to be well written and like come to a conclusion. And then parts that kind of go astray are questionable. That's where a lot of things become questionable. The first warning signs of where American Horror Story is going to go. Those warning signs popped up in Asylum. And then some things they just blame on aliens and being crazy. And that kind of works out for the storyline, makes you feel a little bit crazy. So I don't necessarily dislike the alien plot. I just found it funny that they blamed a bunch of random stuff on that. I would like to see another season about aliens, though. I don't know if we'll ever get that, but I would like to see it. When it comes to ranking, I would say Murder House is still number 1, and then Asylum would be at a number 2. What would you guys think? What did you think of Asylum? What did you think of my build or the cast or what went down? Let me know everything in the comments below. I'm a very lonely wiener, and your comments mean everything to me. Make sure you just subscribe and hit the bell. Because I will be posting new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for all of November. 3 videos a week definitely fits my vibe a lot more than posting every day. That was a struggle. I don't know how people do it. So I will see you guys on Friday when we redo my Sims 4 American Horror Story Coven. And until then, stay safe, and I'll see you on Friday. Bye.